All right, so we are live in this session. What we're going to be doing is I've been learning Stripe for both the course and for one of my contract jobs. And so what I wanted to show you was what I've been something that I just came across and that I thought was really cool. So I don't want to wait. I literally just found this like when I was working on it this morning, and I wanted to show you guys. So what it is it is the it's a Stripe example project. Let me just drop this over here, and it's RocketRides Stripe Connect demo. All right, and it's pretty cool. So you can see here, the live web app is here, live at RocketRides.io. And the idea is kind of like an Uber, but with rockets. All right, so obviously this is a fake business. All right, you can't actually get rocket rides. But yeah, so to get started, you're gonna need a couple of things. You're going to need a Stripe account, and you can actually do this all with in test mode. You don't have to have like an actual activated Stripe account connected to your bank and all that kind of stuff. As you can see here, I'm in a demo project in Stripe, and I have not activated my account, and you're still able to go through this whole project. All right. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to start over fresh. So I'm going to re-download this zip. It comes with the iOS project as well as the server. Okay. So working with Stripe, if you don't know, you can't do it all with just your iOS client-side app and the Stripe API. You also have to have a backend that communicates with Stripe. So the flow is your iOS app communicates with Stripe, which sends back some information, which you then send to your server, which your server then sends to Stripe. Stripe sends that back to your server, and then your server comes back to you in your iOS app. And now we're not going to go too deep into the API or the backend stuff. This is just to kind of show you how to get up and running with this particular project so that you can kind of get started poking around in the project. It's got some really cool stuff. All right, so that should be downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out from my downloads here, and we're now here on my desktop, opening up the project. You can see here we have server and iOS. All right, so I'm currently broadcasting on Zoom for those of you watching this either on YouTube or later on the Udemy course. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the iOS project. We're going to need to install the pods, so I'm going to open this up in a new terminal tab, and we're going to say pod install. All right, so now we are installing the necessary CocoaPods for the project. Just go ahead and close these. All right, and we are back on track. All right, so let me find our downloads or our folder. Okay, so now that that is done, we can open up our RocketRides workspace, say open. All right, and let's see what we need to do. So coming back to our Stripe README, we have a few things that we're going to need to do. We'll start out in our iOS app. Okay, we're going to need to fill in the publishable key and our local host here in our app delegate. So app delegate, our publishable key. All right, so with Stripe, there is a publishable key and a secret key. All right, you keep your secret key very secret. So that's here in our developers. Look for our API keys. Here is our publishable key, and that goes in your client apps. So paste that right there, save that. We're going to be working on our local host for right now. So I'm going to put our local host base URL string right here, or you can actually use their live version here if you want. And then there's one other place that we need to put that here in our main API. We need our local host there as well. Okay, so like I said, I'm not going to go through everything here. I'm just showing you how to get this project set up, and then you guys can browse through it on your own. We'll go through a couple of things depending on how much time we have. But our iOS version should be set up now. So now let's take a look at our at the backend, at the server. Okay, so this contains both the website and the actual backend stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and open this in a new tab, and we're going to say code dot to open this up in Visual or in VS Code. And all right, so this looks good. Get out here, get out here. All right, let's see what we need to do for this guy. All right, so for the backend version, or a portion of it, we need to do... All right, so we need to go into our config file, and they have this named incorrectly, actually, as I discovered when I was messing with this earlier. This should actually just be config.js. All right, so we're gonna need a few things here. We're gonna need the secret. So come back in here. What's up, Zachary? Now, obviously, you don't want to be showing people this, but for one, it's the test demo account. For two, this is test data, and for three, you can actually change your if you need to, you can just reset your publishable and secret keys by clicking on roll key right there, and that'll just generate new ones, and the previous keys won't work anymore. But if someone gets a hold of your secret key, they can do pretty much anything that they want with your Stripe account. All right, so secret key here, secret key here, publishable key here. And then we also need your Stripe client ID. Okay, so this demo project works with Stripe Connect. All right, so Stripe Connect is kind of like what you can use to, so normally, like if you just go with your basic Stripe account, you'll set up your account information and any payments go into your Stripe account. What Connect allows you to do is a whole bunch of other really interesting, cool things. So for instance, like Lyft uses this to pay out directly to users. So payments go from the passenger to the Stripe account, to Lyft Stripe account, and then directly to the user. And so you can do some cool stuff with Stripe Connect. So here in our dashboard, we have Connect, settings. We'll get our test mode client ID and drop that here. And I think that is all we need to do here. So we're going to save this. Come back into our instructions, enable connect. All right, so we got our client ID in there, and then we also need to add this redirect field. And I've actually already added that from when I was working on this earlier. So that's added right here in the redirect URI. You just click on that right there and paste that in. If you are not in test mode, it has to be HTTPS, has to be secure. But since we're in test mode, we can do a local host. And then the other thing that you have to do is if you're using Connect Express, then you have to, let's see here, is that in payments? No, it's in balance, I believe. Transactions, nope, settings. Yeah, here we go. You have to turn off the automatic payout. You have to go to manual here for that to work. All right. So those are the things that we need to do for the back end. Now to get started, to actually start up the back end, what we need to do is come back into terminal. Let's see, where am I right now? Okay, so we're here. So we need to install our node packages. So I'm going to say npm install. Now you are going to need Node. You're going to need Mongo if you're doing the local hosting. And these are easy to install. Just Google for Node, Google for Mongo. And another useful tool is Robo3T. I'm not going to go over all of those things in this video. All right, so we have installed the necessary packages. So we've done npm install. We've done that. Let's start up Mongo. So I'm going to open up a new tab and say Mongo. Is it Mongo D, I think? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I think I actually have, I already have Mongo running in another terminal tab, but that's how you start it up, Mongo D. And then here in our, let me actually close this one, terminate. Okay, and then we can start it up here. We say npm, is it start or run? Start. All right, so it says RocketRides listening on port 3000. So we should be able to go to HTTPS localhost 3000. And what did I do wrong? Localhost. Oh, I don't think we have the T. There we go. Just HTTP. All right, localhost. And here is our here's our website that we just started up from the example project. All right, so what can we do here? What we're going to do is we are going to register as a pilot. All right, so using Stripe, we say become a pilot. You're ready to get paid. So analogous to like Lyft, this would be the same thing as, you know, a person wants to become a Lyft driver. They go to the Lyft site and they sign up to become a driver. So they, oops, this is the one that I did earlier. Okay, so it looks like I've already gone through that. I'm gonna have to log out and become a pilot. All right, so let's do Johnny at johnnybcodes.com. We'll just do 123 and doesn't really matter because this is just on my local server, so don't have to worry about like a super secure password or anything. I'm gonna say create account, not now, first name Johnny, doesn't really matter. You can you know, make up your own make and model for your rocket ship that you're using to transport people, license plate, color even. Let's go with orange. And we'll save this profile. And that's just kind of, you know, fun little stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with Stripe. But here's the stuff with Stripe Connect. So we're going to set up payments on Stripe. And so if I go with, I'm going to you put in your phone number and then an email, johnny@johnnybcodes.com. And we're going to say continue, and we are sending a verification code to your mobile phone. All right, so the code is 229699. And once you have verified your phone number, you can put in here your legal name, date of birth, etc. And we're just going to send it to a debit card. And you don't have to put, since we're just in test mode, you don't have to put real bank or card information. Stripe has test stuff for us. We can say Stripe test cards. Go to testing Stripe, and they have a whole bunch of cards here. So credit card numbers, debits for all these different types of cards. So we're gonna go with a debit card. So I'm gonna copy that. Come back over here. Any future date. So say 12/20, and then we're going to say create account. Oh, I forgot the date of birth. Just put in some random birth dates and say create account. All right, so you're ready to get paid. So we can then go to our pilot dashboard, and you can see here that we have our dashboard for our pilot. We have 0 rides and 0 balance for now. We can simulate passenger rides. So if we just click here, then we are simulating that we are getting a ride. This is kind of the same thing as what would happen in the app. So let's go ahead and open up Robo, and this is showing what we are actually saving to our Mongo database. We have here, this is the pilot that we just created, Johnny at Johnny B Codes, etc. And so that's working. So now let's go back into Xcode and actually run this app. All right, so this is loaded up. You can see here we have destination. We can type in where we want to go. Let's see here, what do we have here? Something in San Francisco. Sure, San Francisco. All right, so, and you can see kind of the trajectory that we are going to go on for this rocket ride. And it's going to cost us $5. And we can set payment methods using either Apple Pay or this card here. This is again another test card, Visa ending in 4242. You can add a new card using any of those test cards. Let's use our Visa, and it's going to be $5. And then we just say request ride. And you can see this little fun little animation. And that person, that pilot, just did a ride, and we paid them $5. And you can see that here in our, let's see here, connect accounts. So we have 2 accounts here. This is the one that we just created. We have our transfers. So this is the one that we just did. I think the fee was $1, maybe. Is that why? And then here in our back end for John B, if I refresh this, Kathleen, did that not work? Let's check out Robo. So rides. Yeah, 500. Let's try doing another ride here. Oh, that's because it's still on my previous account. How do we... I wonder how I can change who it's going to. I think it randomly, or it picks the first person here. It picks the first pilot in our pilots array, which was the previous one. So let me log out, and I'll log back in with the previous one. Okay, so now you can see we've done, this is the random passenger that it generated when I logged in into the iOS app. So if we do another one, you can see it's at 6 rides right now. We can request another ride, say complete ride. And if we refresh this, we should, yep, there we go. So now we're at 7 rides. All right, so that is RocketRides. It's pretty sweet demo project. You can get up and running with your Stripe account, connect, your backend, and your iOS app. So let's take a look at Xcode just a little bit here. You have our, let's see here, components. So you have our view controllers, and the Stripe parts of this are down here. Let's see here. Yeah, you can. There's some pretty cool little tricks in here as well for kind of some UI stuff. 'Cause yeah, it does look pretty nice and clean. You can, if you were curious how to do something like this, where you can have kind of real-time address completion for you, then you can take a look at this view controller right here. And let me see if I can find that. Let me see if I can find that Stripe stuff that I wanted. Okay, so we have this payment context. Trying to find the... Because these things right here, these are built in as part of the Stripe framework. Okay, and so that comes all pre-built, because if you look at for instance, if you look at the storyboard, supporting files, storyboard, it's just these two. All right, so everything else that is stripey, that comes built into the pod, and so you can just call these view controllers and present them. But yeah, so that is how you can get up and running with this Stripe project. There's a lot in here. The back end is also a great resource to take a look at. It's done in Node.js, and the next step for me is to try and extract this into Firebase Cloud Functions, because if possible, I don't want to have to deal with an API on a server. I would like to, because then you have to go through teaching how to deploy on either Heroku or probably Heroku. And that can kind of be a pain sometimes. But if we can just keep everything in Firebase, if we can use our cloud functions for the Stripe functionality, that would be really cool. So that's what I'm going to be trying to do next, extracting this into cloud functions. So that should be interesting. Maybe we can cover that next time. But thanks for hanging out with me. Good to see you all. And I'll chat with you in the chat. Laters.